Hey, what's up? What's up? Oh my God, look at this. It's horrible. Man, this looks serious. Anyway, this is not the best feed there is in the world, guys and girls, boys and girls. But anyway, I am King Gio. Let me turn on the light here so you can see a little bit better. I'm still in bed, so I'm doing a live. It is my day off. I can do that. Okay. There we go. All right. So this is King Gio. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to do this because I've been getting a lot of questions about people asking me about airlines. So I want to cover some basics on airlines and what they ask and what they require. So I'm gonna do this little video, and even though the title is about what they ask you in interviews, but I wanna do a broader scope of it so you can know. Back in the days, and by the way, if you have not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and please do so. Back in the days, airlines used to ask you an array of questions, and I'm talking about an array. If you asked me 20 years ago, what was those questions? They would ask you like 10 to 20 questions. You know, where you're from, what you do, why do you think this airline best fits for you? What would you do? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or where do you see yourself in 10 years? All those questions have changed. I forgot the name of the system that they use, but all airlines, especially the ones that I've gone to, which Delta Airlines, United, American, they use the same questions, and I know because I got a good memory. But it's called they use a system. They use a system. So let's just say I saw this today before I did this, and this is from a guy who's doing questions that the airlines will ask you. This is from a guy named Ted, and I saw him, and you know, okay. One of the questions that they do ask out of the fire, what is your weakness? That's that they do use, and you have to use your common sense. You tell that airline what is your weakness. That they do use, but there was some here that they don't use. Usually, what is your? They could ask you, what is your weakness? What is your greatest strength? And you can say punctuality is my greatest strength. Working with teamwork is my greatest strength. Adhering to orders is my greatest strength. Um, like I said, punctuality. They look at that a lot. Punctuality that you are on time. So that's one question. He said here, question number 2: what is 25 times 23? They don't ask you that. Tell me about three people who lives you positive change. They don't ask that. I mean, those are common sense. Those questions are. So they ask you that. So before I get to the questions that they will ask you that I remember that they asked me, because I did three different airline interviews. I got hired by all of them, and they're all the same. They use the system. I forgot the name of it. But anyway, so before you apply to a job, you have to be 18 years or over, and you have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to have your GED or the high school diploma. Uh, you have to be. At least I know with American Airlines on it. In my American Airlines, at that time you had to be fully vaccinated. Um, um, Airlines do, and I repeat, airlines do hire felons, depending on what year you are, how long your felon goes back. So um, let's just say for people out there who says, "Oh, I got a felony for 20 years ago," that's not going to come back. It will not come back in two ways. It depends how you do it. If you're applying for a job that does not consist of you having a cider badge is a badge they give you that you can walk around the airport with, because that's FAA, that's on the federal regulations. Then you're gonna need a cider badge, SIDA, and when you do your cider badge, they'll fingerprint you. So even if you put no that you've never been arrested before, it will come out, because every time that you get arrested, your fingerprints goes to the FBI. So it's in the FBI database. That's number one. Number two, if you're doing a job that is outside the airport, that you don't need to interact with people inside the airport, that you don't need to be in the airport, period, then they won't do the cider badge. And then what they will do is that they will do they will investigate themselves there. And you got to check with your state. Some state only go as far as 5 years. Some states go as far as 7 years. Some states go as far as 3. But it's always best to look at your state. And also depends on what company is depends on what company is doing the background. So New York you can only go back 7 years. Here in North Carolina, the the governor signed a bill stating that no state or city agency, if you're going to work for the state or if you're going to work for the city, can ask you if you were arrested before. So my best bet is that if you get arrested, my best bet is that if you do apply for a job, on that job application when it says, have you ever been arrested or convicted of a felony or misdemeanor, you leave it alone. You leave it blank. You neither say yes, you neither say no. You see a lot of people saying here, I put yes, and then you explain yourself no. That in my experience, in my 25 years experience of working, I've seen that's a no. You can, once the application, because no one basically sees that part on the hiring process, not the interviewer. They don't pay too much attention to that, from my experience. Um, but you just leave it blank. Once you leave it blank, that gives you the opportunity when a person says, "Okay, I've been arrested," and they say, "Listen, it says here that you left out the part where have you ever been arrested or convicted of a crime?" You say, "Oh, okay." You put, "Oh, yeah, yes, I was," and then you put yes, and then you put the description of it. But if they don't ask, right, and when the application goes through and your background comes through and your background comes and it says that you have been convicted, and they ask you, Mr. John Doe, why didn't you lied to us? You put down you were convicted. I said I didn't put that I was convicted or not. I didn't put anything down. One, you can say I didn't see the question, or you can say number two, I chose not to answer it until I got in front of you so I can explain. Sometimes explaining is better than just putting yes and put it out in a sheet of paper, and then they ask you, yeah, but that's you lied. Or, no, I never put it down. I never have. Never told anybody to put it down. This is just me. You go to the police station, yeah, to work for the government job, yeah, you have to do that. If you go get a job in the airport and you do it inside cider, is you going to get a badge. If you're going to work inside the airport, in the airport, on the applications for the job, you don't put nothing. You leave everything blank there until they ask you. But when you go apply for your cider badge, there you have to put yes that you have been arrested. What year? What was the crime? Or what was the arrest for? And what was your deposition? If you do not have the deposition, they will tell you go to your local court, get the deposition, which you can do in any court of any state. You go to the county clerk's office, tell them I want the deposition, or you can do it online too, depending on what state you're in, and you just ask for your deposition of your court date of your arrest, and you take that into your company security building, and there they'll look at it, and then they'll send it over to the FBI. The FBI will send them a report. It matches, and then it's up to the airport manager. It's up to the airport manager to hire you with that felony. All right, and every airport has a list of felonies that they will not accept you with: espionage. That you were arrested for explosive. If you were arrested for there is a I will show you right now. Um, there is a list that you cannot have those felonies and have a job with the airlines. Um, and it'll go. And every airline is there. Every airport is different. So, um, um, so yeah. So you just go. You just go to the airport's website. On the airport's website, it'll tell you the list of felonies that are not accepted um, for the airport's clearance, for you to get clearance for the airport. And there's a whole bunch of them. There's like uh, no weapon charges, no espionage charges, no no bomb threats charges, no fly list charges. There isn't a way. Hey, what up, Jay Jerk? Long time don't see. Hit that thumbs up. So so those guidelines are different from the airlines guidelines. Like I said, some places can let you work for if you have a felony that was 5 years old or that was 10 years old. Like I said, some felonies don't come up on some state, depending on the state that you're in, because they don't let it go. Your felony stays with you forever, unless you get it expunged, or you have it expunged, or you have it I forgot the name of it, whatever. But anyway, so that's the only way. But other than that, if they really wanted to dig up more than that, they can, because it stays on your record. It's public record, you know. But some states only go as far back as 5 years. Some states goes back as 7 years. So it depends on your state. But the airport, for you to get your slider badge, they will check with the FBI. So for them, you best bet is to put in your application that yes, you were arrested, when you were arrested, what was the arrest for, and they will ask you for a deposition. If you don't the deposition, if they don't feel quite comfortable with what you put on the application, then they'll tell you go to your courthouse, get the deposition, and bring it back. And then when they get it back, it's up to the chief of police or the chief of the airport to they will sit you down and they will tell you, and then you will have your day in the airport, and they will tell you if you can apply.
What's wrong with your eyes?
If you're able to apply, or they will hire you, and then you can go one on one. Okay, so that's it. When you apply for Delta Airlines, the questions for all of them are same. The only difference between Delta Airlines and American and United is that if you work for a rampage, you work for something else. I'm trying to make that money, J. Jer, but I'll be demonetized, bro. So try to watch all my videos so I can give you an hours back up. So Delta Airlines, you have to do a physical test. It's a test where they put something here around your chest to measure your heart rate. You have to go up the stairs. You have to lift something up, depending. But yeah, there is a physical test. And even if you get hired with Delta Airlines and you don't pass the physical test, then that hire that offer they gave you gets rescinded. So it means you no longer have that job. So you gotta be careful. That's the one thing that I don't like about Delta in that aspect is that they hire you and make you do all the paperwork because they hire you the same day. They make you do all the paperwork. They make you do everything, and then all of a sudden, when you do your drug test, you go do your when you go do your physical, you pass all of them. But when you go get your physical, they tell you no because you didn't pass your physical. Mind you, with Delta Airlines, when you get hired, you do your W-2 form, your W-4, you do a whole bunch of a slew of paperwork. But anyway, in the American Airlines, when you United, you don't do that. So going back to the questions are simple. Mind you, please be cheerful. Please be honest. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. And if they put you in a group, try to be like the third or fourth person to answer, because you can get feedback on the other people who are answering the questions that you're going to have to answer yourself. That's the best way. That's the best way. So one of the questions would be, tell us a little bit about yourself. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You tell them, hey, I'm King Gio. I'm from New York, born and raised there. Um, um, I have 25 years experience in this industry, and blah blah blah. Or my name is Jay Jerk, and I'm born and raised in Connecticut or whatever, and I have no experience in the customer service business, but I would like to gain some knowledge. I would like to expand my work experience. So hopefully, not only that, when, and this is the key part, you let them know. You don't say if I get the job. You say when you give me the job. That asserts your confidence. So then when you do give me the job, I can move on and have a better position at a later time. One of the questions they ask you. They ask you another question would be, tell us in a situation that tell us what you did in a situation that you had to do something that your decision um, changed the course. So you do something, you do a scenario, you think of a scenario in your head that you did at work, that was out of the norm, but you did it and it worked out for the job. Or you can listen to, if you don't have one, you listen to the person that did it before you, and you get an idea of what they're trying to say. Me, I had one where I was a supervisor in a resort in Puerto Rico. I was what you call a steward supervisor, and our job was to take food from the kitchen to the back room. But I had to make sure that all the silverware were clean, and then everything was clean. The kitchen was clean. So there was a guest of 200. I had to make sure that I had 200 plates, 200 forks, 200 knives, 200 cups, whatever it was, whatever they were going to drink. Everything was matched together. We used to help the chef plate the food, and then take it to the back room. And from the back room, once those plates are done, take them back up and put them in the dishwasher. And when you leave the day, the whole kitchen has to be clean, and the whole dishwasher place has to be clean. So that was my job, to supervise them. And you have a galley that you have to go through the back to reach it. So that day we didn't have no galley because they were fixing that. So I had to improvise. So I had to go all the way down to the basement, go across the street, and come up to the other way, and then come the other way this way. So then I can cross the street, because I went under the street one. And no, we went under the elevator underneath. You cross the street, you come out, then come back up, and then go through a hallway. We have to do all that like 10 times in order for the guests to have their food, and then go through another way so we can go to the back, so this way the guests don't see us. That's something that you normally don't do, you wouldn't do. But there were being constructions, and we weren't told. When we have a meeting every day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to have two meetings to make sure what was changed, what's not going to be changed, if there was a change in menu. But that day they didn't have no meetings. That day we did have a meeting, but the construction was not told to us. That came at the end, so you had to improvise. So those are the questions that they ask you. What's your weakest thing that you have? What's the weakest? What's your strong point? Um, what would you do if a customer came up to you and they they said something to you, they got you upset, or they would get you upset, something like that? What would you do? What would you do if a guest came up to you or a customer and blah 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 blah? And you have to answer that, but you have to answer that with the best of your ability. What would you do if a guest came up to you and was rude? Or they might, and you could say many things, but you try to say, if a guest came up to me and rude, I would just talk to them. and try to listen to them. And don't raise my voice. And sometimes if I see that I cannot handle that guest, then I would call my supervisor. Yo, what's going on, Robert? So in the case of in the case of a person who's never had customer service experience, the best to say is, well, since being that I've never had any customer service um, experience, I would talk to my supervisor, and then have my supervisor talk to that guest or talk to that customer, and I would stay next to that person. I would stay next to that supervisor, and listen to what my supervisor has to say, so I can know for next time what to say. Maybe not say those exact words, but something to that effect. You know, that they love that. What will you do? There's usually two guest things. What will you do if a guest came up to you and said that they were not satisfied with their service they got? And again, you go, well, I don't have experience, or if you do have experience, that you take from whatever you learn from that experience, you do that. Um, what do you? It's also very important to learn about the airline that you're going to go to, or the job that you know, to learn about where it was founded, who founded it, who did this, who did that. Because sometimes they might ask you, what is it that you like about Delta? Why do you want to work with Delta Airlines? What you say? You be honest. I think I working for Delta Airlines would be a great experience. It would be a great experience for me. I believe that I can learn a lot from Delta. I can expand my experience that I have now with Delta Airline, and I speak both Spanish and English. I speak both Spanish, English and Hindu, whatever it is. Uh, but you make it in a positive way that they're like, okay, fine, because you want to stand out from others, because they're going to be interviewing other people. You want to stand out. What makes you want to work for Delta Airline? I have experience, blah, blah, and I would say, what makes you think that when they ask me, what makes you think that Delta Airline will be a good fit for you? I say, well, this is me. I say, well, you guys called me, right? So it means that you're interested in me. So that makes that number one. That makes me a good fit. Number two, I have an enormous amount of experience in customer service. I'm well versed in what a guest or a customer wants. I'm very well versed on how to de-escalate a situation. And the very important thing is that I'm very good at, because I'm a team player. There are people that just like to work on themselves, but I'm a team player. If I see an employee, if I see one of my coworkers that's struggling, I will go to him or her and help her. If I see this, I go there to see that. I go out of my way to exceed the guest expectation, because they want you go to United, you go to you expect a certain service, but you don't expect a certain service. Like, let's just say you go to Walmart, you say, hey, listen, can you tell me where I can find the shirts? And then they go, yeah, go over there, go over there, go over there. Then you make a left, and it's in the right, it's in on the rack. No, exceeding that expectation would be, hey, come with me, follow me, and I'll take you there. And that person goes and takes you. They go, here's where this shirt is at. See, now that person has exceeded your expectation, because you only went to ask, and that person went beyond that asking and took you there. So you always try to exceed the guest expectation and do something that they don't expect you to do. So when they leave that room, when they leave that area, so you could be working for Delta, United, or American, whatever airline you're working with, and the food may not be good, and the service may not be good in the airplane, but they are going to remember the service that you gave. They say, you know what? The food sucked, the plane sucked, the flight attendant sucked. But that King Geo at customer service, he was great. He treated us beautifully. And that, my friend, you will get recognized for. And people do send in comments to the heads up, and they will know. And if you have good management will come up to you and say, hey, yo, King Geo, you did a great job. You got recognized by one of our guests. Keep it up. That's good management. So those are like basically 5 questions that they ask you, and just be you. Be chirpy. Hi, how you doing? Try to feed off their vibes, because sometimes they got bad vibes. Don't stick to one. Don't just say one question and just stay stuck up. But give them a little bit of view of who you are. The pure, energetic. If they ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I see myself in 5 years in your position or higher, because my goal is to grow within the company, because I want to retire, and I want to retire with a good company. That's my goal, and that's it. So just don't. So Robert, just don't be shy. Don't be shy in this job interview. Me personally, see, I have an age where I can read people. So this is like a chess game. I'm two or three steps ahead of them. So I already know what they're going to ask me, and I try to play slick too. So if I see a little picture, oh, that's your daughter. I say, oh, that's a cute. So I try to sway them. Or I see the baseball team. Or you're a Braves fan? Yeah. Oh, you're a Braves. I'm a Mets fan. Or blah blah. And we keep that conversation like that. So you can keep that conversation like that. They know you're a conversating person. They know that you're not shy to conversate. So and plus you let them know that you are aware. Oh, I like your tie. You're a nice tie. Where did you buy it from? Stuff like that. But don't be shy. Don't be coy. Same thing. Speak up. Hey, I'm from New York. I really do want to work for American Airlines, because not only just the benefits, it's me working with customer service, me working with people. I enjoy working with people. Yes, I understand that each person is different, and there's going to present themselves. Different situation will present themselves. Some are going to be good, some of them are going to be bad, but I'm willing. I want to handle those. I want to gain experience doing those type of things, and I want to grow with American Airlines. I want to grow with Delta. I see myself working in a very long term. I want this to work. I want to have a long relationship with this airline and stuff like that. So those are 5 questions they will ask you. When they ask you, do you have anything to ask to us? Say yes, I'm a citizen. So how long does the training go? What's your base pay? Do you get paid every 2 weeks, every week? Um, how long do you think, if I get hired, I should tell my job, which is always 2 weeks notice. That's the standard. And stuff like that. So you just be yourself. Listen to what other interviewers are doing, are saying, and try to feed off of that. So if you have no story, as they're talking, you make up a story. Like if you have 4 people in a room and you have no story to tell because you have no experience, you say, wait a minute. I like this story. But if you have no experience, or in your job application has no experience, then you can't do it. You can't do a story. You tell them, listen, I don't have a story to tell of that nature, because I've never been in the customer service business. This is my first time working, and those experience that this young man, this young woman, and you yourselves gotten, those are your experience that I want to get, and it would be an honor if this airline can provide me with a job so I can get that experience. So where that experience that can lead me to be in a position one day to help others also. And that's what you do. And that's what basically, and that's how you get hired. The airline job and in any job. But they only ask you 5 questions. Be brief. Uh, notice the body movement of the interviewer when they're talking to other persons. When they're interviewing another person, they're asking them the same question. Always listen to how that person talks, how that person moves, and you look at the interviewer, what their interaction with that person is. So because you want to get that interaction, or you want to get an interaction, a better interaction that interview that person is getting. So that's me. Because when I'm selling me. You're selling yourself. You're selling your service. So you have to be to par. You have to be better than that person. Maybe that person got the job. Maybe that person got the job, but that person got the job because of one thing, and you get the job because they thought that you were much better than because it's a collective thing that they do and who they hire. So if there's 3 people that do an interview, each of them are going to choose who they want to hire. And maybe your interviewer say, I'm going to hire Gio because did you see that vote of confidence that he has in himself? That's what we need. So anyway, if you need any more help, please let me know. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that like button because King Gio's channel is being demonetized and my viewership is going down. I have no idea. I have to get up now, and I have to leave. What's up, J Jerk? You caught me at bad times. I'm about to leave, buddy. Robert, what's up, buddy? So Guys, thank you very much. Yeah, smash that like button. I have to go with wifey. I have to get some things. I have to take my son to his job. Um, but I'll be on later on, guys, like around, hopefully around 9 or 10 o'clock. Let me know that's a good time. So thank you very much. I just did this video because a lot of people were asking me questions about Delta Airlines, and hopefully this will help you out. Like I said in job interviews, just be yourself. Be as honest as you can be, and don't be nervous. I know it's easier said than done, but just don't be nervous. You're selling yourself, okay? You're selling yourself, and you are better than that person. That's what that. Think about it that way. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Jay Jerk.